Hi everybody, thanks for tuning into this video. In this video I'm going to show you taking a blade out of the machine and kind of the things I go through to get these machines lined up and ready to put a new blade in. So when I service a machine, this is what I do. Pick it up and throw this old cotton ball out. You can see it's pretty discolored, just worn. No need for that anymore. Immediately take the blade out. This shaft is real stiff, so probably needs a good cleaning there. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. The first thing I'm going to do is, well, just loosen the outside. You can loosen both sides, but since I'm going to grind this blade and put it back in the machine, I'm just going to loosen the outside, and hopefully when I grind it and put it back in, I don't have to go searching around too much more for where to put the blade. So I'm going to take the screws out. Don't need those for a little while. Set those aside. Ooh. All right, you're going to need a brush because more than likely it's going to be pretty messy like this one is. And I've noticed we've lost our little bumper over here on the side, so I'm just going to take that off. We'll clean it and put a new one on. No big deal. In fact, I'll go ahead and do that now before I go scratching up that bed real bad. Oops, sorry, that was loud. And let's see here. I'm just going to clean it off first with a little alcohol, denatured alcohol, just to get the little sticky thing to stick better. Put a little bit on a rag and come rub right there in the corner. That'll dry real quick. You can go get these little stick-on bumpers just about anywhere. The hardware store ought to have them. They're cheap. Stick it right back there, and now we're good to go. All right, next thing I would do, ordinarily I wouldn't have to take the shaft off, but I think it's in such bad shape. Uh-oh, my thing's sagging here. Hang on a second. Whoop, there we go. Tighten that down a little bit. Stay. All right, I think our shaft is so bad shape, we're gonna get that thing off of there. So I'm gonna loosen these two screws. It'll pop like that, no worries. Slide it on out. Ooh. Take the O-rings off. Set that aside, the carriage. And just take a rag, just clean it off. Wipe it down real good. If it's real bad or got some sticky stuff on there, you can use the alcohol for that also. But this one's not that bad. And I have myself a little wire brush here. It's kind of long, and I use that to kind of help clean out the posts if there's any stuff in there. And I just kind of scrub doing that. And I'm going to do the same thing down here, although it's so tight you rarely get any debris down in there in the bushing. Get some of that extra cane off. Now you're going to have a lot of cane that gets on these O-rings. No big deal. You stick a rag and your finger through there and just kind of wipe it a little bit. It comes right off. That's just from the carriage pushing that debris in there. All right, so we're going to put the shaft back in there. This. Go ahead and tighten it down. Doesn't have to be super tight. It's probably not going to go anywhere. So it'll still need some oil. It's a little bit better. It's going to need some oil. Okay, that's good clearance. So, not that hard at all. I'm going to use the same size 1/8 Allen screw to come out of here. Take the roller plate off. Set that aside. first thing I do is I'm going to take something small, doesn't matter what it is, just poke it on the other side here, push these little, oops, there we are. You want to push the little dowel pins out to hold the clips down, both of them. You can see these are nice and not at all rusty or anything. They look like they ought to look. If they are rusty, you can clean that off and put some oil on them to keep them from doing that. And then I'm just going to pull the clip. I'll do this hand so you can see more. Just pull the clip out and kind of pull it up. Not too hard. You don't want to bend anything too bad. And just take something to kind of clean out on there. Oh my gosh, there's like no cane. Great. A lot of times over the years, cane will get down there and it'll look kind of like this. It's just like a dust of cane. And after a while, that'll compact and you'll get to the point where this clip won't close anymore on your cane. And you'll be starting to throw all your pieces of cane out. They'll just fly out of the gouger as you're trying to cut it. Say, I can't keep my cane in. What's going on? Well, easy fix right there. And for an easy fix like that, you don't have to worry about adjustments. You don't have to worry about messing with the blade or anything. You can do that. Just put the roller plate back on and you're good to go. Now in this case, since we do have the blade out, we're going to check the alignment of the machine. So to do that, get your guide nice and clean. Just get all the old dirt and everything you can see on there and feel. Let's get that as clean as possible. Same for the bed. Let's get as much crud out of there as you can, because any little piece of dirt is going to mess with this next thing. So nice and clean. Turn right here, and just a piece of cigarette paper. I rip mine like this, so it's just a little easier to handle. And it's kind of like checking the keys in your oboe. So I'm going to check the right side. It's nice, tight. And check the left side. That's nice and tight. Don't worry so much about the middle, even though this machine does touch in the middle because it's pretty new. It's less than a year old. As you use your machine, the cane will just kind of rub down the middle of the guide a little bit. It's not enough to really change the size of the guide so much. It just kind of, it doesn't grab the cigarette paper like we would like. So just worry about the sides. You just want to get the sides. There's good, and that's good. This machine is very well set up and lined up. If it weren't, here's what you do. You flip it over, and you're going to have two screws right here. Now, if you have the felt or covering on there, you're going to have to poke a hole through there somehow. You can be careful with a knife, or I have this nifty little thing somewhere. Here it is. This thing, and I just kind of go in here and poke it and turn it a little bit, and this little plug comes out. Easy enough. And you just loosen those screws. In fact, I'll show you in another video. I'll have another machine, I'm sure, that's going to need the bed to be aligned. So look for that video, I guess. Won't waste my time here, because this machine's pretty good. It is ready to put the roller plate back on. So we're going to make sure the bottom is nice and clean, because again, you don't want any trash. Take my brush, clean off anything down there, put it back on, and please don't over tighten this screw. It's really easy to strip, and if you can't get this screw off, then, well, it ain't pretty. So basically just kind of hold it down and turn it a little bit just to keep it snug. That's all you need. Now I have a lot of people ask what kind of oil you put on these machines. Right now it's tough to push with my pinky. I can do it, but that's not going to really cut. So my favorite product is this Liquid Wrench brand penetrating oil. It could almost be any penetrating oil. It doesn't really matter the brand. I should think. I'm sagging again here. Let me try and get this up. There we go. It's just really thin, and it's going to get in there and make life much easier for us. Hardly any time at all. And I've got this nifty little needle oiler. I recommend using these so you don't make a huge mess. And I'm just going to put just a little bit down there and a little bit back here. And just kind of work it in, and it is already darn near effortless. Just that little bit. Any thicker oil is just going to slow you down. Like a motor oil, anything like that is it's gonna really sludge up the works here. And the penetrating oil, the good thing about that is that'll get in there. Even if you've got other oils on the shaft, you don't have to clean those off necessarily. You can just put that penetrating oil in there, and it kind of mixes and nice and free. So that's it. We're ready to grind the blade, and I'll see you for that part of the video. Get this guy sharp again. But before I do that, let's check this guillotine real quick. So a lot of guillotines, the newer ones especially, we're going to have a little screw there, and that just kind of helps put a little pressure on the blade to keep it against the body of the guillotine so you get a nicer, cleaner cut. So I'm just going to kind of just snug that up just a tiny bit. You don't want it so tight that you can't operate the handle here. But I'm just going to kind of move this up and down and barely turn that screw. Again, I'm out of the frame. I'm sorry. I'm barely tightening this screw as I'm moving the handle up and down. And that feels pretty good. So it'll stay up on its own if you need it to. Go down nice and easy, and that'll cut nice. All right, thank you. We'll see you for grinding this blade.